We're here today with Pamela Olive, who's running for the District 2 seat on the Lincoln Land Community College Board in the April 2nd election. We appreciate you being here today, Pamela, and invite you to provide an opening statement about why you're seeking this office.
Okay, sure. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you and introduce myself. The main reason I wanted to become a Lincoln Land Community College trustee is I believe Lincoln Land is a valuable resource to this community, and we're lucky to have this college in our backyard. Whether you're a traditional or a non-traditional student, Lincoln Land offers affordable learning opportunities for everyone. When I was approached about this opening, I wasn't aware that Dennis Shackelford, the current trustee, had been in an accident and did not intend to run again. So, of course, I was honored to be asked and excited about the chance to become more involved in the community. To quote an article from the SJR, I now have an opportunity to become an engaged citizen. So, I'm running for the board to ensure that the residents of my district continue to have access to affordable, quality educational opportunities. I'm also running because this is a unique opportunity to be a part of the future of the college, the community, and people's lives and future successes of all the stakeholders. Educated and engaged citizens make for a more well-rounded and thriving community.
What is the district? District 2?
District 2.
Yeah, it's the boundaries, generally speaking. You said you want to know, you represent the...
It's big,
crazy.
It's diverse. So it covers, I don't want to say all of Riverton, but portions of Riverton, Rochester, East Springfield, Lake Town, around the lake, some of Glenarm, a tiny bit of Chatham. I haven't even reached everyone yet.
That's big.
I mean, a lot of the capital townships. So it is big. Again, it's very diverse. I have mobile home parks and lake homes. I've knocked on doors of farmhouses, and I've walked subdivisions. So it's very diverse. A really good sampling of our community, I feel. So it's a good opportunity to reach everyone and let everyone know that there's something for them out at Lincoln Land, whether they're a traditional student or, someone retired and they just want to take a couple courses. There really is something for everyone.
In some ways, this election is kind of under the radar. Maybe it's the mayoral election, maybe it's people are tired of elections. But in some ways, that's kind of like Lincoln Land. And in some ways, Lincoln Land in the community is kind of under the radar. Can you?
Yeah, it really is, because I thought, oh, well, sure. Oh, yeah, yes, I'd love to be a trustee. I graduated from Lincoln Land. I'm perfect. And then I started researching Lincoln Land and going out to their website and talking to the current board members and talking to community members. And I met with Dr. Warren. I'm like, I don't know Lincoln Land. It's it's thriving. It's dynamic. It's obviously changed so much since I went there. We don't need to get into those dates, but I thought I knew it, and I think people in the community, just like me, think they know it, and there's it's not for them. Probably.
So through those conversations, what have you found out about Lincoln Land that you think that the citizen on the street really doesn't know or isn't aware of?
Well, probably, a lot of the citizens, the just high school graduate type learners, probably don't realize all the opportunities that are out there, for just about anyone. I mean, I didn't realize, Dr. Warren informed me, literally, it's a lifelong learning opportunity from the, child care facility to the retirees that can go out there, the over 50 club, right. That can go out there and have learning opportunities. I mean, I had no idea. I think she said cradle to grave. So it's just vast, everything that's available. I was learning a lot. I've learned a lot. overwhelming, actually, when you start to look at their website and their curriculum.
You said you're a grad. What did you study there?
I have an associate's degree in, it was called data processing then. It's
Okay.
probably computer science now.
Okay.
And then I went to UIS. I have a business degree, a bachelor's degree in business. And in both colleges, I was non-traditional. I worked full-time, and I went in the evenings. And actually, I was out there, and I'm constantly looking at the clock on the wall. Come on, I just wanted to get done and get back to whatever I was doing. But I think that's another thing. I mean, I think we need more engaged students, so that we, instead of just being like I was, where they're just there and it's a necessary evil and let's get over with this and I want to get back to my life, let's make them more engaged in the college and all the other activities that the college has to offer, the clubs and the extracurricular activities, so that when they go back to their homes and their neighborhoods, they can be advocates for the college as well, because the college really needs advocates and voices in the community, I think, to make people aware. And that's one of the things I would do.
You said you had your degrees are in business. Tell us a little bit about your professional career and how that would be a benefit, you feel, to this board.
Right. So I am in sales. I'm a production print sales specialist for Conoco Minolta. I sell commercial digital printing presses. So I sell presses to commercial printers and in-plant print houses. For instance, like at Lincoln Land, they're not my customer. So, but I think sales, as a salesperson, I meet with business owners, I meet with C-level executives. I am an advocate for my company and my products, and I consult with them and explain why my product or service is the best to meet their needs, right? And I think that's a job of a trustee also, or anyone affiliated with the college for that matter, to be an advocate and explain to people the benefits of going to Lincoln Land versus some of the other competitive colleges. Certainly we don't want them to move away and possibly never come back. So a role as a salesperson would be very similar to what I would do as a trustee.
How would you perceive the role of community colleges just generally? What role do they play? What's the function of a community college?
Well, I mean, they're a vital role, I feel, just because they're more accessible. They're right here, and by here I mean, in that community. Lincoln Land has, I don't know, I can't even think how many different locations, but we cover 15 counties, I believe, and we have like 8 or 9 locations. So they're very accessible and very affordable. So I think that's the main role, for students that may not have other opportunities to go away for whatever reason, family, financial. It's just a great opportunity to get some skills. If you just want to get in the workforce, you can graduate from Lincoln Land with a job skill and one, placement, a job immediately. So I think that's probably the accessibility and the affordability, because not everyone can afford, a 4-year.
You indicated that the district that you hope to represent and the community college total district is diverse. One of the issues that's come up recently is the governing magazine and kind of the pointing out the discrepancies in race when it comes to housing and income and police, all of those kind of things. So do you have some sense of how that might play out at the college and what role the college might play in helping to improve some of those tough issues?
Yeah, I mean, I think the college has, I don't want to say it's an obligation, but possibly a duty to to be all-inclusive. And I know Lincoln Land is all-inclusive. They're open enrollment. You know, everyone's welcome. No placement exams. So they have, you know, scholarships and ways of maybe disadvantaged people getting their tuition paid. I know they've put in place some programs to help African American males who are statistically underrepresented at colleges and in the workforce. So I think they call them wraparound programs, some of that nature. So, you know, I do think they have a duty to make sure that their student population is diverse, and they make those disadvantaged residents aware of how they can help them, you know, because people just might not know.
What programs do you think Lincoln Land does really well? Like, what shines there in your mind that people are aware of? And that,
well, I think the truck driving program has 100% placement, so that's awesome.
yeah.
I know nursing is big, and I think they're planning to grow that as well. And certainly looking around Springfield, healthcare is taking over this community. So there will never be a shortage of nurses and healthcare worker needs. You know, I think the workforce development, again, for the people that don't necessarily want to transfer, they just want to come away with a certificate, and they can start right away making a high, you know, with a high-paying job, skilled labor.
What about the areas that maybe Lincoln Land could do better? Do you see any of those areas?
I mean, you know, just overall, I don't know of a specific program that they need to make better, but I guess just overall, again, just somehow getting the word out to the community about everything that's offered and that everyone is welcome. You know, like I said, when I started researching, I was just overwhelmed by what I didn't know. I thought I knew, and I didn't know. So just getting the word out.
Okay. You mentioned workforce development. How do you think the relationship is between the college and the business community here in town?
I think it's strong. I know they have some partnerships with some great companies in town. I mean, they've you know, Dick Levi has contributed money to the aviation program. I think they have a new partnership with Brandt. Certainly both high-profile companies. And I've seen a little bit about the Economic Development Council, I believe, and those are some high-powered names on that board. And I know Dr. Warren's on there. I think they have a great working relationship with the businesses.
You brought up the new Land of Lincoln Economic Development Corporation. I know they're still getting off the ground, so less than a year now since they've really formed, or about a year. How do you think they're doing so far?
You know, I mean, I've just learned about them, frankly, so I have no thoughts. I'm optimistic that they will be successful, but I looked at their website and there's not a lot of information there yet, but I'm very optimistic.
Okay. That was created in response to a report the county did about economic development opportunities in the county. Did you read that report?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Just because that report did talk about Lincoln Land in there and the asset it is and could be. How about the relationship the college has with the school districts within its boundaries? How would you categorize that relationship?
I think that's strong. I think it's growing. I know they offer dual courses, dual enrollment at a lot of the high schools. I think certainly we need to expand that, if possible, into more high schools. Get counselors, you know, on board with Lincoln Land, and again, maybe it's just they think they know Lincoln Land, but they don't. So we need them to be an advocate for Lincoln Land Community College. Possibly even hit students earlier than high school. My son's a freshman at SHG. I know he's been getting emails that he needs to start meeting with the counselor to discuss his career goals. So, I mean, again, maybe even reaching out, 8th grade, and I don't know that they don't do this, but if they don't, possibly getting kids even before they get to high school.
Okay. One of the issues board members would be faced with on a regular basis would be a budget. How would you as a board member approach that annual process? What priorities or principles would you adhere to when presented with the spending plan for the year?
Well, certainly the goal would be to always operate within our budget. I know, we don't set the budget, we just approve it.
Yeah.
But certainly we would want to look at the budget, make sure we're staying within it. I know, right now there's some budget constraints because of the state, maybe not paying their fair share. I'm not sure what we can do about that necessarily. We'd have to, I'm sure, stand in a very long line. But, I think the citizens are doing their share through their property taxes. We don't want to raise property taxes. Of course, the students are paying their tuitions. So just, work within the budget and make, if necessary, make cuts that look internally first, of course, for ways to save money. But then if the hard decisions do have to be made, I think then we go back to our mission, our core mission, which is providing affordable, quality education to our residents. So if there's programs that need to be cut that aren't part of our core mission, then, we have to make those cuts.
Do you think it is affordable right now to attend Lincoln Land?
Yeah, I think it's affordable. I think it's $129 a credit hour.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And again, there's scholarships and ways that they can get help with tuition, so people just need to be aware of that.
In the past, there's been some discussion because it may cost more, for example, an English class rather than a nursing lab class. That cost, there may be a difference, but the tuition, the way I understand it, is the same across the board. So would you see some maybe moves to change fees that way or not? Is there?
Well, I guess I'm not familiar with that issue and the fee structure, so I would want to definitely learn about that and find out if there is a way to make it better, more fair, I guess. If people think it's unfair, then try to make it more fair. But yeah, I just don't have knowledge about that fee structure.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the some budgetary things would in some ways be out of the board's control. Like the legislature recently approved increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025. What effect do you think that could have on the college?
Well, it could have a negative effect. I mean, it could be that people don't feel the need once the minimum wage gets to that amount. They won't feel the need to get a degree or a certificate. Although, I personally think that as wages go up, so go costs.
Yeah.
So, I think they're going to find that while $15 an hour sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money to a lot of people, as the costs rise to meet the labor costs for businesses, they'll probably want to come back and get their degree, so they're not making the minimum wage.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's still the minimum wage.
Yeah. At the upcoming board meeting, which is tonight, the contract for Lincoln Land faculty is up for approval. If you were on the board, how would you work to help find that balance between the college offers competitive salaries so you attract the best educators with being a responsible steward of taxpayer dollars?
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with the negotiations that are going on. I guess, yeah, you just look at ways to make it fair for everyone. We are stewards of the money, and I need to do what's fair for the residents of my district, but we also need to hire and keep qualified, faculty. So, if they can move away and get a higher wage, or even go across the street to UIS,
Yeah.
we want to maintain them. So just look at ways that's fair for everyone.
Okay. Last year, the Ag Department at Lincoln Land received an $18 million, donation from a trust to improve the Ag program. Ag is certainly a huge part of the Lincoln Land District. What would you like to see happen in the Ag Department with that type of donation in hand?
Wow, there's a lot of opportunities with that. I think they're building or expanding the facility.
Also at tonight's meeting, they're set to approve $7.5 million in bonds to build the Agriculture Center of Excellence.
Okay. So certainly a new building.
Yeah.
And just, outfitting it with the latest, equipment. I think they have simulators, things of that nature. GPS, farming's come a long way. So just, making sure it has all the latest and greatest equipment and technology so we can attract the best students to our program. And of course, use some of the money to promote that program.
You talked earlier about the student experience at Lincoln Land, and athletics could be a huge part of that for a lot of college students. What role do you think athletics should play at Lincoln Land, and are the opportunities there now for that to happen?
Yeah, athletics are an important part. It can certainly bring students in that may not have otherwise considered Lincoln Land if they get a scholarship. For instance, I think Dr. Warren said quite a few students from SHG attended 1 year because they all played baseball together.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That was certainly a boost, and those students may not have come otherwise. So it is important. It's not necessarily, again, the core mission of the college, but it is a way to keep students engaged, and if they're going to the games in the evenings or on the weekends, it's just more of an experience, keeping them engaged in the college so that they can go back and be advocates, and then can even continue, into their later years after they get their degree or their, certificate.
So we're a journalist. We like transparency. I was on the Lincoln Land board member page, and there's no way to contact your board member right now. If you were elected, how would you make yourself available to constituents?
Well, I make myself available now to my customers and prospects. It's my cell phone number and my home address or my business card. So it's, I'm always available, and that's what I tell my customers. I'm like, that's my personal cell phone. Maybe I'm not available between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. because I'm sleeping. But other than that, call me,
Okay.
So I would, and I'm on the Clear Lake Township Board.
Yeah.
And my cell phone number's posted there. I have an personal email address that I share. I'm always available.
Okay, great. Do you have any other questions?
No.
We thank you for meeting with us today and invite you to give a closing statement as to why voters should choose you on Election Day.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I guess, what I will bring to the board is what I believe a different perspective, a unique skill set, because I'm in sales. I'm out as a consultant and an advisor to businesses. I'm speaking with C-level executives in my role. So I'm already out in the community. I'm out in the community also as some of my volunteer work. I'm a precinct committeeman. I don't volunteer at the Clear Lake Township, but I'm on the township, and I'm out in the community advocating for the township. So I'm already out there, and I would be a huge advocate for Lincoln Land Community College. Again, I'm a graduate. I've stayed in the community, you know, I have my family's here, I work here, and I volunteer here. So I've stayed here. I'm approachable. I'm relatable, I think. You know, I mean, people, as I'm out knocking on doors, you know, they invite me in and they want to talk. And, you know, I'm approachable. And I think to be an effective leader, you have to be approachable. I certainly work for people that I don't want to approach. I don't want to ask for their assistance. I don't want to air any concerns. But I think being approachable, people will be willing to come to me and contact me and let me know their ideas or their concerns, you know, about the district. So, you know, I think that's one of my strong points. Of course, I love Springfield. It's a small town feel. Dr. Warren is very passionate about Lincoln Land Community College and this community, and she just made me more excited to want to be a part of it because it's dynamic, it's thriving, and I just want to be a part of that growth and excitement, and help, you know, the students, the graduates come away with either the transfer credits so they can move on in their career, or get their certificate and, you know, start right into a high-paying, good job here locally or nationally, you know, whatever their desire. So I would be honored to serve on the Lincoln Land Board, and again, I will be an advocate and a voice in my district on behalf of the college, but also a voice for my residents of my district. So, you know, I think both perspectives definitely need to be heard. We need to tell people about Lincoln Land Community College, and we want their feedback so that we know what needs to be changed, if anything, and how best to reach them. Because, you know, so many people, I mean, I don't get my news the same way, you know, millennials get their news. So we need to make sure we target prospective students the way, you know, the information they want, when they want it, and how they want to receive it. So, you know, certainly targeted marketing to grow enrollment, because, like I said, I'm in sales, and I know sales relieves a lot of pains. So we need to increase enrollment. That would definitely take some constraints off the budget. So, again, you know, just having engaged citizens, whether they're students or just are members of the community, with good education and job skills, definitely leads to a growing and prosperous community. So I want to be one of those engaged citizens.